so that if parents who aren't able to see this live, maybe because they're overseas, they'll be able to catch up with this at some other point. And this workshop, and we're doing the workshops on 2 days, so I'll be here again at the same time tomorrow. So if you want to see me again tomorrow, then you're more than welcome to do that at the same time at 1:30. So this afternoon's workshop, the presentation for me, will take us until 2 o'clock, the end of the day. Like we always have this event at this time of the year, the WEK Looking Forward event, and really to give an insight into the direction the school is moving in over the next 12 months or so. She's just welcoming a few other parents. Rahana. Rahana's just joining us, a member of our parent council, as is Emmanuel. Great that you're joining us, Rahana. Hope you're well. I can't hear you because you're muted at the moment, but don't worry. Please use the chat to pass on any messages and any questions that you have during the course of what I'm going to talk about over the next 25 minutes. And do feel free to send me an email if you'd like to also. Just to remind you that we're recording this session, questions via chat, and we're going to make a start, and I'll accept parents as we go. So first of all, as I've already said, I hope that you and your families are well. Very challenging times, but I think people are now into this new routine, and forever, however long that's going to go on for. And certainly the feedback that we received from parents and the school community about our remote learning is very, very positive. But as I keep saying in my video blogs, please do keep sharing your feedback with our teams, because our remote learning programs will develop, and they'll continue to develop over the next few weeks and couple of months. But obviously we're working on the basis that we'll be back in school in September. Obviously, it's very difficult to know at the moment of what that will look like and the details around that. But we are planning and working on the assumption that we'll be back in school in September, and I'm very hopeful that is the case. But I am missing everybody. We're all missing everybody. I was actually in school yesterday for the first time for 6 weeks, recording a very short virtual tour of the school. Wasn't there for very long, but it was nice to be back in the school building, and nobody else there apart from myself and Stephanie. But it was great to see the school there. It just made me realise how we're missing everybody, and schools are not the same without students and parents there and staff. And so I'm really looking forward to being back there as soon as possible, as I'm sure is everybody else. So I'm going to share with you a very brief PowerPoint. I'm not going to share, it's not too long, you'll be pleased to hear, but just some key points to take you forward. So I'm just going to start by sharing you this, and hopefully you'll be able to see it. There we go. Okay, so welcome. As those of you who've been parents with WEK for some time now will know that when I joined a couple of years ago, we introduced this annual event, the WEK Looking Forward event, as an opportunity for parents to hear about the plans for the school and the priorities that we were taking forward into the future. And that's very much about what we're focusing on today. Obviously, the ACE conference is a new event. We did our first one in October very successfully, and really focusing on the high performance learning world-class program that I'll talk a little bit about later on. But an opportunity really for parents to engage with class teachers and form tutors, but also really a one-stop shop for parents to access a whole range of different workshops and presentations, to support them in current education practice, some of the initiatives that we're working on. But also, when we were in school in October, then it was a marketplace. So some of the services that we provide were also there for parents to engage with. Obviously, this time we couldn't do that, but certainly the one-to-one meetings with teachers have been happening today and will continue tomorrow. Though I do understand there's been a few technical issues with accessing Teams via some iPads, so we will get around those. But certainly they'll continue tomorrow, and then a whole host of workshops and presentations. Many are pre-recorded, so on YouTube, so parents and friends can see those whenever they want to. And then many workshops are live like this, because I think it's really important that we're able to sort of interact. It's not the same online, but it's the best that we can do, but also an opportunity for me to talk to you live and to give you sort of the insight about where we currently are. So I mean, you'll be aware of our vision, and our vision hasn't changed. It won't change. This is our commitment to our students and our families, and it talks about that inclusive learning community that we hold so dear at WEK. The students coming and families coming from 80 different countries, speaking over 30 languages, with a whole range of different strengths and needs and abilities, and that's what makes WEK so special as a learning community. But key to that is the teachers knowing the children and their families so well, so that in their lessons every day they can differentiate their teaching so that every single child is doing their very best. And then we go on to that strap line of ACE together, to aspire, to create and excel. And even via the remote learning over the last few weeks, I've seen a number of lessons where students have been so creative, and it must be very difficult online to be creative, but actually the boundaries have been broken down in terms of what our students have been capable of, and our teachers. It's been a steep learning curve, I think, for everybody about the use of technology, and certainly when we are back in school, I'm pretty confident that we'll be using technology in so many different innovative ways now as a result of what we've done over the last few weeks and will continue to do. And it is about preparing our students, your children, to be future leaders and to give them those skills of leadership and independence, and those really positive attitudes. So our vision hasn't changed. Our vision just gets stronger and stronger and stronger as the school grows in its size and in terms of its community. So, I mean, I know this is called WEK looking forward, but I want to start by just looking back a little bit, and a quick look back to the year. Obviously, these are all sort of things that happened prior to the lockdown in around the world. But the school year started with some exceptional GCSE results from our Year 10 and Year 11 students, and again a second year of exceptional GCSE results. The first year's results were staggering, and we didn't think that we'd be able to top those. But the group of students last year did that. And achieved GCSE results which were well beyond the UK figures in terms of their standards, and again very competitive with some of the more established and high-performing schools in Dubai and the UAE. Obviously, this year's arrangements for GCSE and A-level exams is going to be very different, in that the results will be very much based on teacher assessment. And the outcomes of mock exams and predicted grades and all that being put together, and then the exam boards looking at students' work and coming to decisions about results. But we've been assured, and all schools have been assured, that students this year will not be disadvantaged because of that. And our secondary team in particular are working very hard at the moment, and we'll be doing so over the next month to ensure that our students are in the very best place possible to get the results that they deserve, to take them into sixth form, and also to take them onto university. And my daughter's in Year 13 at another GEM school, and was disappointed about the A-level results to begin with, or the A-level arrangements to begin with, but is now very optimistic that she'll be going into university in September, and is really looking forward to that opportunity. And then looking back on the year, it's about the strength of the school community. Never have we had so many families continue at the school, and new families join us, and the school community has got stronger and stronger. The role of our parent council and our parent reps has never been stronger. Some wonderful community events, and I think back to our first ever winter fair, which was absolutely wonderful. And it's those sort of things that we're all missing at the moment, about that opportunity to come together. But they will come, and those times will come. Obviously, September last year saw the launch of our Swimming Centre of Excellence, which was a wonderful initiative. And all of our students across the school are benefiting from the facilities, but also the coaching led by Dejan, who's the former Olympic coach of the Serbian team. So he leads our coaching team at WEK, and that's to support students in swimming across the school, and not just those elite swimmers who join the school and are doing exceptionally well as members of our Centre of Excellence. We also then in November had our BSO inspection, and you'll know that the school, and that was a real highlight of this year, that the school was judged to be outstanding in every area of our BSO inspection. And again, a very rigorous process, but looking at all aspects of the school. And as I said, for the school to be judged to be outstanding in everything was remarkable. And then a similar sort of time, we were also then successfully accredited as a BSME school, so a British Schools in the Middle East. And all this BSO and the BSME all enable us to develop and grow our network with other schools. So being part of the BSME means that our students and our staff will be able to benefit from events with other BSME schools and training and support and different activities. We haven't really been able to do that yet this year because of the situation. However, going forward, we're really looking forward to being part of that network of schools. And then finally, and this was just before all this happened, was our DSIB inspection, which was just at the end of January. Seems a lifetime ago now. However, a challenging experience, as the inspections always are. Now, I've put 2 question marks there because you and our school community still will not know the outcome of our DSIB inspection. And the inspection reports have not yet been published by the KHDA, and I'm in contact with the KHDA at the moment to find out when that's going to happen, because I'm really looking forward to being able to share the outcome of our DSIB inspection with our community, and that gives you a bit of a flavour as to the outcome of it, but I'm not allowed to say at the moment. The KHDA assure me that they are looking at this. The issue is around, because of the lockdown, a number of schools, quite a large number of schools in Dubai, have not had an inspection this year because they were due to happen at around about now, and so they're just looking at the process for releasing inspection reports. I've seen the inspection report, and part of it is just next to me here. And whilst I said I can't give you the details and I can't share with you the outcome, it is a very good read, and it really picks out on some of the key strengths around the curriculum, around the outcomes that our students achieve in the core subjects and their attitudes to learning, the care and support for our students, and our partnerships with parents. It really picks up on that. And so thank you all for your involvement in that. So a very quick look back on this year. As I said, a bizarre year. It's a year that I think everybody around the world will look back on and think, well, that was a challenge, but I'm sure we'll all be stronger as a result of it. So a very brief look back, but now really focusing on looking forward. And when I'm talking about looking forward, I'm both thinking about the rest of this term, but also school in September. And a key thing for us and for you and families, I'm sure, will be around the transition for students. So come September, in effect, assuming that we'll all be back in school, that students and staff will have been out of the school building for almost half of the school year, which obviously is a significant amount of time. And whilst learning is continuing, and our team at WEK are doing everything that they can to ensure that learning continues, and we are still covering all of the curriculum, obviously there will be challenges when we're back in school. And some of the key things that we'll be focusing on are identifying where there are potentially any gaps in students' understanding, and what we need to do in the autumn to ensure that those gaps are filled. But a lot of what we're doing this term, and you'll have seen this when we shared with you the calendar for this term, a lot of what we're focusing on this term are transition events. So we have an event for Year 11 into Year 12 transition. We're having a transition day and various other different events during this term, so that students and parents feel comfortable and confident and supported as children move from one year group this term into the next year group in September. And you have my assurance that the whole team across WEK will be working really hard to ensure that when we are back in school, hopefully in September, that we will do whatever we can to ensure that there is that familiarity, and there's that consistency, and there is that stability for our students, so that the 6 months that they've been out of the school building, we overcome that as quickly as possible, so that learning can continue as quickly as possible. So a big focus this term on student transition and ensuring that everybody is supported. And if at any point you have any concerns about your child not sort of not being comfortable about that, please do contact your child's teacher, form tutor, because we'll be very active in ensuring that everybody is supported. And as I said, a number of events this term to prepare students for that, but also come September, those sort of induction arrangements so that everybody feels comfortable and supported. And then around assessment, obviously term 3, this term is always a key term, at the last term of the academic year for the assessment of student achievement, their progress and attainment. And it's going to be different this term. Obviously, we've already talked about the GCSE, the A-level exams, the external exams not happening in the normal way. We've also recently heard from the KHGA that the GL progress tests that students would be sitting this term over May and June, they're going to be moved to September. And so the key development here is that a lot of the formal assessment that would happen this term is going to happen in September and the autumn, when hopefully, as I say, everybody's back in school. It'll be very difficult to ensure the rigour and the consistency of these formal assessments by doing them online, doing them remotely at home. It'll be very difficult. And obviously we want the results of the assessments to be as accurate as possible. And so assessment this term will continue, of course, but it will be very continuous from teachers' assessment. Obviously the teachers will continue to assess the learning that students are demonstrating, and we'll be recording that in OTRAC and Go for Schools, which are our assessment systems. But the formal assessment, those exams, those tests that would generally happen, particularly for our secondary students, will more likely happen in September as a sort of a baseline. As I've said earlier on, one of the key for us in September is that we identify very quickly if there are any gaps in students' learning as a result of the remote learning. And one key way to do that will be through the baseline assessments. And so whilst obviously we want September to be an easy transition for students, there will need to be, probably towards the end of September, a period where we actually formally assess where all of our students are in their learning, so it can inform the planning and teaching to come. Then in terms of curriculum development, and something that you will have seen in our BSO report, and also you will see in our DSIB inspection report, around some of the recommendations are around our curriculum. And obviously you'll know that we're a national curriculum for England school, but we know, and I mean, these are no surprises to us, we know that there are still areas of the curriculum that we'd really love to develop further. And the two key places that we like to focus on are as students move between Key Stage 2 into Key Stage 3, so that primary school into secondary school transition, but also at post-16 in years 12 and 13. So if we look at the Key Stage 2 and Key Stage 3 one first, I mean, I'm sure you may be aware that the primary school curriculum is very holistic and really focuses on linking subject areas together. So that cross-curricular approach, which means that students can be engaged in projects where they're able to apply skills in different subject areas. And yet when they get into year 7, which is very common, when they get into year 7, it then becomes sort of a box curriculum where children will move from one classroom to another for a different subject, for a different with a different teacher, and there's very little opportunity for subjects to be linked together. And what we're looking to try and develop over the next couple of years will be how we can take some of that cross-curricular, that thematic, project-based approach in Key Stage 2, particularly year 5 and 6, and carry it on into year 7 and year 8. And then vice versa, what we can do around that specialist teaching that our Key Stage 3 students benefit from, so those specialist teachers who are experienced and trained in their subjects, how our Key Stage 2 students can again benefit from that. So it's taking the best from both and trying to continue it. And so we're going to be looking for ways to do that, I say, over the next year or two. And then in terms of the post-16 pathways, again, if you know WEK, and so at the moment, we offer GCSEs, IGCSEs at years 10 and 12, and at the moment it's A-levels and international A-levels at years 12 and 13 before students go on to higher education and employment. And that is quite a narrow. I mean, GCSE is absolutely fine because there's a lot of breadth there, and our students are able to study 9 or 10 subjects. But then when we get to year 12 and 13, and we're looking at students all going down one route of A-levels where they're picking 3, potentially 4 subjects to study at A-level, it becomes quite narrow. And so what we're looking to do is broaden the selection of A-level subjects, but also to develop some new pathways. because A-levels don't necessarily suit all students. And obviously, as a truly inclusive school, we want to ensure that we can provide our students with the curriculum and the opportunities that they require. And so for September, we're looking to introduce a small number of BTEC courses, which will enable our students to be more hands-on, more practical in their learning, but also the opportunity for apprenticeships, for work experience, and for different activities to happen in that area. I'm just going to add a bit, somebody else, sorry. There we go. Right, I'll carry on talking. So, new post-16 pathway. So students be able to select from a combination of A-levels, international A-levels, BTEC courses, but also the opportunity for apprenticeships, industry partnerships, and so on. And then finally, I mean, this is the final point here, but there's so much more in terms of the outstanding teaching and learning. Again, when you see our DSIB inspection report, you will see the comments around the quality of teaching and learning at WEK, and it is a very high standard. However, it's one of those things that it can never be good enough. There's always ways to develop our teaching and learning, and so what we're looking at this term and going into the next academic year through teacher training, through professional development for our staff, is about sharing of great practice in terms of teaching and learning. And key to that is the High Performance Learning World Class Award, which we are now coming to the end of the first year of. And so I'll be talking a little bit more about that in a second. Here we go. So, the High Performance Learning World Class Awards, a 2-year award process. We are currently in year 1 and obviously coming to the end of year 1, but we're in a really strong position in terms of the High Performance Learning World Class Award. And the key reason for us being in that strong position is because of our WEK learner profile, which you'll see here, because that really does embody the principles behind high performance learning and as a world-class school. So the premise for HPL, high performance learning, is about there being no ceiling, about there being no barriers to a student's achievements, and that every student can achieve whatever they want to, given the right environment, given the right support from parents, from teachers, and given the right opportunities. So environment, opportunities, and support. And WEK is a prime location for high performance learning to be so successful, because we're part way there already through our WEK learner profile. And so as we look now to go towards the end of the first year of HPL and begin a second year in September, the key steps for us now really are about taking our WEK learner profile and looking at what are the skills that our students need to be risk takers, because actually risk taking is a big thing. Actually, all of these elements, these 5 elements around the outside, are big things. And there are so many smaller elements within each one. And actually what the high performance learning program does is take each of the, or will enable us to take each of these areas and break them down. And so for our students, they'll be able to be far more specific about, well, as a risk taker, these are the skills that I need, these are the attributes that I need, how can I develop these and apply these in my learning? And that's what HPL does for all of the different elements. And so that's why we are in a really strong position. And this ACE conference, as I said, was generated, was a brainchild of Mr. Morris, Mr. Cooper, as a result of the high performance learning program. And so certainly, not so much this term, but more into September and next year, you will see us taking the WEK learner profile and dissecting it and taking each element and developing our students' confidence in looking at, okay, what does it take to be a risk taker? What does it take to be a team worker? What are those skills that you need to have? And so the WEK learner profile is here to stay. That's not going. But what the HPL World Class Program will do is enable us to break it down and be more specific. And that will really have a massive impact on teaching and learning, because it will enable our teachers and students to be very precise about those skills that we're looking to develop. And I'm really, really excited about the prospect of this time next year, us approaching the end of the first 2 years of the World Class Award and us being successful in that accreditation. But it doesn't finish at the end of 2 years. We will always be an HPL World Class school. And even when we finish the 2 years and get our accreditation, the expectation is that we will then go and help and support other schools on that journey. So really, really exciting opportunity. And as I said, we were earmarked for this program because we had so much potential and we were on the way to being a world-class school already. And then just to repeat what I've already said in terms of this sort of the vision for the high performance learning program, it's about looking at the potential and recognizing that every single student has massive, massive potential. But in order for them to achieve exactly what the very best they can, they need those opportunities, they need the support. I think environment is missing here. Environment is important as well, and that sort of that culture of high performance, and then the motivation, and for our students to be really motivated to achieve their very best. So that really sums up the high performance learning program. And then our WEK learner profile, as you've seen when you were in school previously, we've brought it to life, and a wonderful example of student leadership and our students being empowered. So our WEK guardians, I know there are so many plans for books and for stories and for these characters to appear and really bring the elements of our WEK learner profile to life. And actually, as I was looking around school yesterday, it was wonderful to see these up and around, and so excited about the plans that the team at WEK have to really develop the WEK Guardians and their role in school. And then really just to finish off with a couple of other points around the school community. As I've said, our WEK community has never been stronger. Even through, I mean, these last few weeks have been very, very challenging, and I really do appreciate that. But the school community has never been stronger. And that's what our students really benefit from. There is so much uncertainty about things at the moment, but one thing is certain is that the WEK community is there, and we're all there for each other, and we always will be. And obviously Dubai Hills, the community now very, very near to the school, that is now establishing itself, and is becoming a real hub for families either moving into Dubai or moving into different locations. And we're really looking forward to, we've already welcomed lots of new families from Dubai Hills, and lots of opportunities for us to work in partnership with some of the businesses and industries in Dubai Hills. And something that we've done recently is to donate some of our safety goggles from our science and DT departments to the King's College Hospital, which is just on the road up to school. And it's those sort of things, again, which our students will be able to benefit from. Continued parent partnership, and that's never been as important as it is now, but we will be looking for opportunities for us to become a source of training and support for our parents as well as our students. And something that we've recently done, again, Mr. Cooper has recently enabled a school to become recognised as a national online training school, and there'll be opportunities for our teachers and for parents to be trained in national online safety. And it's about developing skills and enabling everybody to really develop themselves. To continue the role of our parent council, the class reps, the engagement with our parents in so many different ways, and also then for everybody in our community to give back, to serve our community, to look for opportunities to support other agencies, other schools, other school groups, other nurseries, and those areas of the community who may not be as fortunate as we are. And for us to contribute, but also for us to look after the environment, and for us to contribute to the sustainability of the UAE and the wider world. So many things to look forward to over the next few months and the next couple of years. So I'm going to bring this to an end now, and I'm going to just stop sharing my screen. But just to say, as it says here, we are truly ace together. I am so proud of everybody at WEK, and I really want to thank everybody for their support during these difficult times. So I'm going to come back out about an hour. So I'll stop sharing my screen. Please do drop any comments or questions into the chat. As I've said, I want to please ensure that you send my best regards to your families. So in these challenging times, never has the WEK community been strong, as I keep saying, but that is down to your support and us working together. And whilst we're not physically together at the moment in school, I'm hopeful that we will be very shortly. But at least we can, via things like the ACE conference and phone conversations and Teams conversations, we can keep in touch and in communication with everybody. So wonderful to see, well, I haven't seen you all this afternoon, but wonderful to be able to speak to you this afternoon. I will just quickly unmute everybody to see if there's anything that anybody would like to ask. Anybody out there?
Yeah.
Hi, Emmanuel, how are you? Is there anything? Any questions? Any comments?
He said, does anyone have anything to ask?
Any questions? No? I have unmuted everybody, I think. I'm trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, and looking forward to see you on September.
Yeah, I am very hopeful, Emmanuel. I'm really, really hopeful. Yes.
Hope that
Yeah.
everybody is well in your family in
Thank
UK
you.
or.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's well, thank you. Yes, my parents are quite old now, but they're in their home. They're not going out, and they've been looked after by neighbours. But like everybody, but thank you, and best wishes to you and your family as well. Thank you.
Yeah, but I know my father passed away on March, end of March, so I was not able to go there.
Yes,
but yes, it's quite stressful, and my mom is alone now, but it's okay. Yeah, no, she's managed.
No, I'm very sorry to hear that, and it's a very difficult time where people aren't able to travel, and particularly at difficult times like that. And my thoughts are with you and your family, and there are many similar situations.
It's a great opportunity as well to discover how many resources we have in ourselves, and how we can manage things and find different ways to stay together. And
so absolutely.
And absolutely. I mean, and it's a very difficult time, but I think the world will be different at the end of all of this. I mean, I'm now cooking, which I don't really cook very much, and my wife has been cutting my hair, and I would never think that was going to happen. So I think we're all developing skills that we didn't know we had. But as I said, but I think one thing that I am seeing is that it is bringing people closer together in a different way. And I think if anything good can come out of this, it is that. It's about that coming together. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, lovely to see you all. Sorry.
I just wanted to ask you, Mr. Matthews, since you mentioned, and you were quite hi, by the way.
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
How are you? Oh, good. I'm good. Nice to see you.
And good to hear your voice. Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to say I'm super hopeful, possibly, as much as any parent, about school starting in September.
Yep.
However, it seems likely that it could not start possibly even until January, only because the number of cases are on the rise. And, now with Ramadan, some people think it's a good idea to start opening everything up.
Yeah.
So you can imagine my feelings on that one.
Yeah.
But so in that case, I guess you guys are probably prepared that we might have a situation where school might not start in September.
Yeah, I mean, we're already having those conversations. As I said earlier on, we've got to prepare for every scenario. And obviously, at the end of the day, we will be guided by the authorities and by GEMS. But obviously, it'll be the authorities at the end of the day that determine whether schools reopen as normal in September, whether they partially reopen. I mean, and again, other countries are facing this challenge at the moment, and talking about whether schools open for groups of students, either. So basically, it's about reducing the number of people in the school building up at any one time. But the challenge for any school like this, and particularly for children, is whilst we can socially distance like this, actually once you bring young children together in a school, it's very difficult for them to be kept apart. Really difficult. And obviously, those sort of things that are being thought about. But rest assured, I mean, we will have plans in place. So if it means that remote learning needs to continue into the autumn term, and obviously it's up and running. But I mean, we are tweaking remote learning on a weekly basis, following the feedback from parents and students. And so we were prepared for that. And if it's a mixture of the two, where we have some students in schools, maybe certain year groups, or say smaller numbers, and then others are working remotely. Because again, what's not clear is when or if people will be able to travel again. And obviously, we have a number of students and families overseas at the moment. We have a number of new students at the moment expecting to start in September, and are overseas. we have a number of teachers who are, some of new teachers expecting to start in September who are currently overseas. So there are many things to think about, but rest assured that whatever we need to do, we will do to ensure that our students continue to learn, and that we try and get back to normal as quickly but as safely as we possibly can. Yeah.
Yes, of course, that's the priority.
Yeah, but we are thinking about. Yeah, I am very hopeful, but obviously means the safety of everybody is number one priority, and I don't think anybody will take any risks in that respect. I certainly wouldn't be. No.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matthews.
Pleasure, and really good to hear your voice again. Okay, if there isn't anything else, I think we've just gone past 2 o'clock. So thank you for your involvement. Thank you for your support, and please do continue to get involved tomorrow in all the different workshops and presentations that are happening. And the final words really are for me is how much I miss you all, how much I miss your children, and please do send my best wishes to your family, and just keep well and look after yourselves. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matthews.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.